Hello, friends. Hello, family. Hello, beautiful people of the internet and the universe. Welcome. You're listening to the first episode of the DBP, Designed by Potheads podcast.
Designed by podcast.
So, you probably don't know us, or you probably do. We've been running a
Instagram page that gives artists a chance to express themselves, or at least that's our goal. Right now we're doing a weekly contest where you submit a drawing of a pothead of our logo and we'll send you free merch if you win.
Yeah, so over the past couple of months, we have been running this little contest, like you said, kind of like a challenge. I don't really like calling it a contest because, I don't know, you can't really contend art, but the whole point is that you take this logo that we've created, which I'm sure you know of, the pothead. You'll see it on screen. The whole idea is to let artists take that into their own imagination, into their own creativity, and every week we've been sending free merch to these artists, and we want this to also be an extension of that. So this podcast is kind of going to go somewhat parallel, not really, because we'll be going back into the archives of past winners. We'll be choosing from them, and we'll be interviewing them here with you, whether you're listening or watching. Hello, it's nice to meet you. I don't think we said our names. I'm Christian.
I'm Brandon.
And today we're joined by no other than Jangmiprints, a.k.a. Kimberlyn.
Hello.
To start off, would you like to tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, how old you are, and what you do on Instagram?
Give us your lore.
Yeah.
Okay, so my name's Kimberlyn. You already knew that. I'm 21 years old. I live based in Idaho, and I've been posting on Instagram since October under Jangmiprints, whatever. And I post draw abstract faces and characters and just all kinds of stuff like that.
Okay, and you post not every day, but every other day, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. So, I guess we'll just start off with your art style. And I want to know maybe some of your inspirations, how you came up with it. I know that you said you were in school for a while. How did you finally land on this style of art that you do right now, which will, of course, show on the screen?
Oh, yeah, in school, I've been using bright colors pretty much all that time. I'd be in art classes 3 times a day, and I just paint all day long. And I have a really childlike taste in colors and aesthetics. There's a lot of media from when I was little that really inspires me, like the 2000s, Strawberry Shortcake kind of aesthetic. I really like that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, to get my style that I have now, I pretty much drew every day until I was 100% comfortable and confident. And I used to post all of it, but my progress, but I deleted most of it. But don't be afraid to show your trash art. Some of it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But mine was kind of, it didn't fit what I have now. I wanted a cohesive style. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, yes.
So
that's that.
Talking about your old art and your style, could you point to any one picture and be like, okay, this is where the journey began. This is where I had the general concept of what I'm trying to do now down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went on my Instagram feed and there's a specific color. It's that's when I found that color, and that's when I got good, I guess.
Okay, we'll show that on the screen for the viewers. What or who inspired your art style, and not necessarily just your art style, but just you as a person. Um, what kind of personalities out there, whether it be characters from movies or like other artists, do you feel like you've drawn inspiration from in the past?
Guess there's a lot of artists and like personalities. Like, I don't know, I really like Dreyfus art. I know she does local art here.
Yes.
It's really cool. And I don't know, I guess I don't think anyone like in my personal life would inspire me because I live in a pretty boring town and everything's just kind of, I don't know. And I don't know any specific people that I could think of right now. Just people that aren't like super like normal, basic, stick to all the traditional like trends and everything. I like people with a little bit of weird, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that.
I've been finding a lot of people on TikTok that are like that. It's like, I don't know if they call it like the alt TikTok alternative. Mm-hmm. They do like all the cool trends that I've always wanted to try, and I guess they kind of inspire me too.
TikTok is such an awesome like place to find new, like, especially small artists. Like, I'm always running into pages that like don't even have that much attention, and like it really is a good platform. Like, we got to start creating content on there, but it's such a different animal than like Instagram is, like all video, and it's also quick, and like, but it's so cool seeing like just creativity pop up there, and like it's cool. Have you thought about like trying to do any kind of like content on TikTok? Because I know like some people they'll do like little like drawing sessions or stuff like that. Have you thought of maybe expanding what you're already doing now on Instagram to something else like that?
Thought about it, but I'm not like, I don't have all the confidence to do that. Mm-hmm. Like, I should, but I don't.
I feel that.
Have you ever tried like animation? I feel like your art style would flow really well into an animation.
That'd be awesome.
I have thought about animating my characters because there's some where they're like dancing. I thought that would be so much fun. In the app I use to draw everything, you could do animation really easily, but I just never got around to learning about it.
So what apps are you using to create your stuff?
I just use Procreate on the iPad. Okay. That's it.
Sometimes that's all you need, just one good application.
One good tablet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I like get all my inspiration from Instagram and Pinterest, TikTok, all those places. Mm-hmm. So I guess I kind of use those too.
Yeah, of course. So the Rosie Kids, that's the name of like I wouldn't call them portraits, but like the characters that you draw.
Yeah.
So I was like curious, like going back to what you were saying earlier, like you don't really draw inspiration from like people in your life, but when you post on Instagram like the Rosie Kids, like you always name them. So like I'm curious, is that just stuff that you make up, or is there some like what's the gap between like inspiration from like maybe real life or like the inspiration of these characters that you could be making up in your head?
I'm pretty much making them all up in my head. Okay. And like I have a really wild imagination, and sometimes I'll dream about like certain characters. I don't know if I've seen them in real life, but they'll just pop up and be like, I'm going to draw you someday. Mm-hmm. And you're going to look so cute. So, yeah. But some of them are based off of old drawings I've done over the years, which are pretty cool. Like I'll take references to random people, like some country music star from the 70s, and I'll draw him doing a little dance. It's like, yeah, that's where I get that from.
So what kind of music would you say would inspire your art?
I mainly listen to music in other languages because I don't really pay attention to the words in music all that much. Mm-hmm. Like I'm more about the voice and the instrumental. Yeah. So I understand mostly K-pop because I'm learning Korean. So I listen to a lot of K-pop and like classic rock, alternative. I have a playlist called Songs Made of Magic that has like all the best songs that have really inspired me, that have like really special instrumental things I've never heard before. And it's just really nice.
Okay, we'll definitely put that in the description so people can check it out and get a peek into your creativity.
Yeah.
So you're learning Korean, right?
Mm-hmm. I've been learning for about 2 years.
Have you ever visited any of those countries?
No, I've never been outside of this country.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
But I'd love to go sometime.
Yeah, of course.
If you wouldn't mind, could you like speak a sentence or two in Korean?
My pronunciation sucks. But I could
okay.
say hello, I guess.
Yeah, go for
Yes,
it.
please.
Okay, 안녕하세요. That's hello.
Very nice.
yeah.
I'm still struggling with English, so I apologize
yeah.
for Korean.
Yeah, I know more like writing it and reading it than talking.
That's a good base.
Yeah.
So, Jangmiprints, right? What is the inspiration behind that username? And why did you choose that?
Jangmi means rose in Korean, and my middle name is Rose, so I thought they'd just click like that. Like it makes sense.
And it ties
It's all
back
rounded
into
around.
into the Rosie kids, which I love.
Yeah, and they've got their rosy cheeks and rosy everything's rosy. Beautiful.
So going back to the characters, because I'm fascinated by the Rosie kids.
Thank you.
In a lot of the like, maybe I'm just looking into this too deep, but like in a lot of the posts that you make, captions, they're usually like there's something happening to them, like, or there's a reason why their face is being a certain way. Like, do you just create these stories in your head that match up with the drawings, and then yeah, is that what you do in your mind when you're creating these characters? Are you also creating what circumstances, what situations they're getting themselves into?
Yeah. Because I always draw the face first, and somehow it'll unlock a part of my brain. It's like, okay, you're riding on a scooter, or you're eating candy or something. It's like,
Okay.
yeah.
So, going to the colors, what you said earlier that you have like a very childlike creativity with the colors. What draws you to those, and do you have like a certain color palette that you already choose from?
Yeah, I have 3 pretty strict color palettes that I stick with, and 2 of them are based off of artists like Henry Matisse. Like he has really cool, or had really cool colors, like bright colors in like these old paintings. And then I didn't know who this artist was when I got her palette, but her name is Marilyn Minter. She has these really abstract up close portrait photography, like up close to the eyes, up close to the nose, whatever, and like abstract paintings. And that's where those pastel-y kind of colors come from, just from her palette that I found. And I'll mix these palettes up together from time to time. And then I'll usually start with one main color and then work around it, because there's certain colors I think look really good, like pink and red, blue and green, purple and everything.
Yes.
Pastels are the way to go for sure.
Yeah.
So, as an artist, I'm sure you stumble upon those creative blocks and obstacles.
Yeah.
How do you get yourself out of those loops when they come? What do you do to kind of ease your mind in terms of creating when you've run into one of those roadblocks? Because I find myself running into those roadblocks all the time.
Yeah. I guess the best thing you could do is not do anything creative. Just like go for a walk or do your normal work that you would do, or just take a nap or something. I don't know. Just don't force yourself to create, because then you're going to be stuck in those ruts more often.
I feel that. I feel like for me, when I run into those blocks, I don't know. I try to do stuff like that, but I find myself, I won't come back to the piece. I'll just let it be and let it sit for like 6 months, and then I'll finally be like, oh, I should do something with this.
Yeah. I don't think I've drawn anything since December. But I have a lot of stuff planned out that I could keep posting without getting in trouble. Like, oh no, I don't have anything to post. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Kind of let the creativity build up.
So going into that, like content creation on Instagram and whatnot, maybe what are your tips for upcoming artists, both local and worldwide? What do you feel is some good tips on getting more attention and kind of cultivating your own little corner of Instagram?
So, like I was saying, you could make your schedule planned out as much as you can. Because a few months ago, I sat and I drew like 2 months worth of content, and now I have stuff ready to post until June.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing you could use, all Instagram, they have, for each post, they give you 30 places to put hashtags. And if you know another language, or if you're learning another language, you could help yourself by translating these hashtags. And you can go and like all the pictures, and that helps with the algorithm.
Yeah.
And you can use those hashtags in other languages, and you can probably find more people in other countries. And they're always really cool.
Yes.
Tattoo.
Tattoos. Ask about tattoos.
So we both saw like the tattoos you designed on Instagram. Would you ever tattoo those on people, or like make designs for people to get tattooed on themselves?
I never thought about tattooing people. I don't think I'd be very good at it because I don't have that steady of a hand. But I've only went as far as making tattoo tickets for people to take to a real artist to be like, yeah, I have her permission. You can go and do it. And yeah, I don't draw specifically for tattoo designs anymore, but you could commission me to do that. I'd totally be down for that.
Okay. If you need any tattoos done by this artist, reach out, DM.
Yeah.
Your link will be in the description.
Of course.
I feel like flesh is a very sensitive canvas, so I don't blame you for not wanting to tattoo people.
Yeah.
It's like something that's gonna stay there forever. So
yeah,
like,
I wouldn't want to fuck it up.
I mean, me personally.
Yeah, neither would I.
When it comes to tattoos, like, I don't really put much thought into them. I kind of just get them because I think they look cool. But there's a lot of people that are sentimental about that kind of stuff. Like, it'd be so terrible to like accidentally mess up somebody's tattoo.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully we can get some tattoo artists on here and like ask them about that.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. That'd be really cool.
So, kind of going into that, what ways do you want to incorporate your art into like a future career? Maybe what are some of your thoughts on like in the future what you could be doing and how you want to expand your creativity even more in the future?
I'm trying to make it work freelance right now, but I've heard later from somebody else, oh, you shouldn't start in freelance. You have to like be in the room with all the people. And like, oh, well, I didn't do that. Anyway, yeah, I'm trying to work freelance, but $30 a month doesn't really cut it. So I'm like trying to get the word out as I can. And I'm basically running on commissions, but someday I want to buy a printer and do my own prints and ship them out. That would be really fun.
Yes.
That would be really sick.
I feel like that's become the move, is like all these little side hustles that people are doing, and like you've seen that sprout on Instagram, and it's amazing that people can make money and a living just from people all over the internet. Like this kind of job, and those kind of opportunities didn't exist. Like,
And they're doing what they love too.
Mm-hmm. I feel
you
like
can't put a price on that, doing what you love either.
Yeah.
I mean to cut you off. My bad.
Oh, you're good. You have any questions? Kind of ran out of guide questions, so we're just gonna have to roll with the dice.
Yeah.
What do you think happens when we die?
I have no idea. go into the unknown, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have an answer to that because I haven't thought about it that much.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to like talk about something I don't know much about because I'm just going to sound stupid. So I was wondering what you think about that.
Do you want to go one at a time?
Yeah, sure.
It's your turn.
Okay, so
That's the question.
I don't know either. I think it's a really interesting topic to talk about, though, which is why I bring it up a lot. I feel like you really get to know a person better by what they think happens after you die. But
Yeah.
personally, lately, I just think you kind of get enveloped by the blackness. Like the only reference point we have to go off of is what happened before we were alive. So I don't know. I kind of just think that happens again after, and poof, you get born as something else again.
Yeah.
But I'd get crucified for that in old times.
Oh, yeah.
For me, I feel like I have so many thoughts about death just because the idea fascinates me, but I feel like I always come back to the thought that, like, you know, I'm never going to know. None of us are ever going to know. And, like, if it is just, like, that dark void that people seem to be afraid of, like, me personally, like, I'm comfortable with that, like, because I feel like if death is similar to sleep in that sense, that it's like a nothing, like the great expanse of nothingness, I feel like I wouldn't be aware of it, so like it doesn't really make difference to me right now. It's something that I'm very curious about and I want to understand, but it's something that you won't know until you experience it, and everyone else is gonna have the experiences. So there shouldn't be like I don't think people should be bummed out when it comes to death. Like I feel like it's just it's the other side of life, you know.
Yeah.
Yin and yang kind of thing.
I feel you.
Yeah, over the years I've become more like not comfortable, but like yeah, it happens and people go through their emotions that they need to go through, and yeah.
Now that being said, both of you, if you could live forever, would you?
Ooh, maybe. I don't know. Could be fun.
I don't know. I feel like eventually you just lose it. Like every person you ever become attached to just fucking dies over and over.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I'm conflicted with that because I want to know what happens after you die, so of course I want to die. Like, like, you know, like I want to experience that. But not like in a suicidal way at all. Just it's a curiosity, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like living forever would be so cool because you would be able to see how this crazy world, this crazy globe that we live on evolves, and like that interests me. That interests the hell out of me. So like that'd be really cool. Like, but I don't think I'd do it for like a selfish reason. Like I'm not scared of death or anything like that. So I feel like
yeah, I feel the same way.
I'm scared of death. I don't know. That might just be my monkey brain talking, but I have the need to self-preservate.
I've heard of a lot of people that have gone through near-death experiences, and they say they feel a lot of peace. Like, it feels really peaceful, and then they just, like, see all these things, and it sounds pretty bizarre.
I don't know. I almost died a couple months ago, and I don't know. I didn't feel it. Well, were the people you talking about, did they lose consciousness just out of curiosity?
I think some of them, like, were in comas. I'm pretty sure.
Weird.
I think that's what it could be. Like, whatever the afterlife is, I feel like it's some kind of chaotic mess. Like, just a burst of colors. Like, maybe like the Mandela effect. Like, I don't know. I feel like maybe that's what it I feel like it's too hard for us to understand, you know?
It's really complex.
Yeah. I think it'd be really interesting to see how like everything panned out though. Like Christian was saying, like if you could live forever, you'd see like the rise and fall of so many civilizations. It'd be a really interesting experience.
Yeah, he lived through so much history.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, that's what fascinates me the most is history. Like, and especially in this moment that we're currently living in, like, this is gonna be so much content for the history books that our kids read.
Exactly.
Like, it's wild times that we're living in, and like I feel like it's only gonna get wilder and more weird and funky, and
I've lived through enough.
Yeah,
history.
only time will tell, I guess.
only time will tell. So going into that, maybe talking more now about like current events and like the world we're living in, because I feel like this is kind of important to document, because this is gonna be such a these years that we're living in are gonna be reflected on so much and thought of in the future if we make it. So, what are your thoughts on the pandemic? How do you feel about staying inside? I've talked to you, and it seems like you're pretty comfortable with all that. So maybe just give us some of your thoughts on everything that's going on, how it has affected you, how it may have not have affected you as much as others.
Yeah, it's been pretty normal for me because I'm used to staying home for months at a time. And I've been working from home so for a few years, so it hasn't really phased me that much. But like seeing how some people can't deal with it, like you can't stay home for that long, and some people will get they're so privileged and they get so spoiled. They're like, oh, I have to go out. It's
Yeah.
like you gotta do your part and do the right thing.
I agree.
Yeah, I feel like some people's true colors have really come out, and so I like know who I can and can't trust in like so many different ways.
Definitely. I feel like although it's been full of suffering and like some people are going through it, I feel like for a lot of artists this has been a pretty like not easy, I feel like that's not an appropriate word, but it's been an interesting time because a lot about art I feel like is that introspection and like isolation and spending a lot of time by yourself in your own imagination. So like
Yeah.
if anything, this has been a great time for artists to take a pause from what was regular and now reflect on what's different or what has changed.
Reflect on the new.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. But I feel like a lot of great art will be created during this time.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's
I agree.
be like a going back to normal.
I don't know, like I feel like there's just like a sense of fear in the air that we're not used to, because we haven't dealt with, our generation at least hasn't dealt with any like downturns in history. So I feel like
When everything goes back to normal, it's gonna be really weird for me because like everyone's like wearing masks and stuff. Well, not everybody, but I wish everybody would. And like
especially now
I'm gonna go. Yeah,
I'm calling out people
it's ridiculous.
right now.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
you guys are so shitty about wearing white masks, and like
Yeah,
I don't want to get
like wake
political or
up.
anything, but like
I don't know. It just feels like if you can save somebody's grandma by wearing a mask, like why not?
yeah.
Like why not have?
Yeah.
It's like, why not have that basic human decency to try and save somebody's life?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is.
See, I feel like,
as a species.
and I feel like the first time I'll be able to go to the store without a mask, I'm gonna feel so weird. Like I want it back. It's like my security blanket now.
What? Oh yeah, like especially people with anxiety. Like I've dealt with anxiety growing up, but like something about wearing a mask is so like it keeps you so. I don't know. It keeps you very anonymous, and I like that. I like anonymous. And I don't know how to say that word.
Anonymity.
Yeah,
Something like that.
and it's cool. Like I think honestly, I think it should. I think even after the pandemic, it'll still stick around. Like
It should. Like if people are just a little bit sick and they don't want to spread it, like if they have the flu or a cold, like that's a good idea.
They do it a lot in like other parts of the world too, but I don't know. America seems like the last person on the train always.
Yeah. Yeah, another thing. In the winter, mask is really warm on your face.
True.
So I like that part too.
Try to keep your voice in one spot so it doesn't like change the. Yeah, what were we gonna ask?
If you could have one superpower, what would it be? Both of you.
You go first.
Time travel for sure. Just like
Oh, wow.
you have to go to work in the morning or some shit and just pause, catch some extra Z's, or I don't know. There's so many fucking things you could do with that.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to time travel because I'm nowadays I'm more like, don't think about the past too much because it already happened and you can't change it. And like the future, you can't worry about it because it hasn't happened. So,
Way to look at it. The present is a present. It's a gift.
yeah.
So what would your superpower be?
Trying to think of my superpower.
Take your time.
I have no idea.
Super art.
Maybe I could shoot paint out of my fingers.
Yes.
There's
You
something.
gotta draw that. You gotta draw yourself with. And now you have to. Like, you gotta draw yourself like a Rosie character with like a finger.
Like
Edward
Spider-Man. Not like Spider-Man shooting it from your
Oh, yeah.
wrist.
I was thinking like Edward Scissorhands,
Oh,
but,
yeah.
but that's
That's a great idea.
Okay, so because you're local and we're also local here in Idaho, how long have you been living here? Have you been living here all your life?
Yeah, I've been here all my life. I live in the same house I was born in, so it's pretty cool.
That's crazy.
After the pandemic and everything kind of clears up, do you have any plans of like going and exploring other places? What are some of those places, if you have any?
I want to go to Boise. I don't live in Boise, but every time I go there, like I used to go just like once a year because I don't know. And it's so magical.
Definitely.
Like other people might not see it as magical. It's like, oh, I live there and blah, blah, blah. But I go downtown and it's so
Of course.
amazing.
We know exactly.
And
how you feel.
I'll try to, this is going to sound really crazy, try to transport myself there because I'll like look at artists from the area and like look at pictures. I'll go on Google Maps and just walk around downtown, listen to Radio Boise because it's like its own genre of music to me. And it sounds like Boise. It's super cool.
So how far do you live from Boise, if you don't mind me asking?
What's that?
How far do you live from Boise, if you don't mind me asking?
How far do I live from Boise?
Yeah. Like how many hours if you're gonna drive?
Few miles, but I know my parents don't like to drive there because the traffic's pretty crazy compared to here. So that's why we only go like once, twice a year.
Going to the radio, they usually play like a lot of classical hits around here, like Bob FM and stuff like that. And like at work, that's all we listen to. So like, what are some of your like favorite classic hits? If you can.
Certain hits, I don't know. I like David Bowie's like early 70s stuff.
Of course.
Like a lot of the rock, like classic rock stars and stuff, their music's the best in the 70s, and in the 80s sometimes it gets kind of
Muddy.
out there. In the 90s it gets even more out there, like all right. I really like Rush. You know Rush?
Yes.
Their band.
Closer to the hearts of bop.
Yeah. They were like a huge part of my life in school. Like they were my favorite band, and I'd have this unhealthy obsession with them. It was kind of disgusting. But I'm like, they're a huge part of my life. I shouldn't like shun them out forever, because I did like a few weeks ago. Not a few weeks ago. A few months ago. I was like, oh, I don't like Rush at all. And now I'm like,
She's had a
they're
change of heart.
yeah.
Closer to the heart.
Yeah.
Especially lately, I've been trying to relive like my high school memories and like listening to music I'd listened to walking down the hall and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
I have a question. So kind of like we were just talking about how there's very like distinct sounds for like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but we kind of live in a weird age where like communication is a lot grander and like more information is being sent around everywhere. Like, do you feel like in the future we'll be looking at the past here and we'll be able to hear certain distinct sounds of our time, or kind of like what I'm thinking, like there's just so much music in different genres being made that where like, you know, like I feel like music is gonna be, memories of music will be different for everyone because it's not as cultural as like the radio is like the radio, if your song got on the top, you know, like that's what everyone was listening to. Now most people, we've kind of just faded out of radio and everyone's kind of just listening to their own thing. But do you think there'll be like distinct sounds from the 20s, I guess, and the 10s?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of different things because there are still a lot of people that stick to the radio and they're like, that's their thing. But there's so many like little different crevices of music that are so weird and so cool. And yeah, that's the kind of music I listen to.
Definitely.
But I don't want to be like that person's like, oh, this is so underground. You've never heard this. I can't believe I'm talking to you about this. I'm not like that, but
like,
yeah,
I'm a big fanboy of Tame Impala, but like, I cringe when people are like, oh, have you heard this? It's like, because I was at that point, I was one of those kids too that like,
oh really?
You know, like
that was me with Mac DeMarco.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they're just those artists that like catch a wave like that, you know, and then everybody's listening to them. But I feel like, especially like Spotify, I love Spotify's like Discovery weekly. The algorithm is so good at matching you up with songs that you'd actually listen to and stuff that you'd actually be interested in.
Yeah, it is really neat. I use Apple Music, but I feel like I can kind of look for songs like that by myself. So I'll just look for that myself, I guess.
Of course.
I don't know. I haven't looked that much into Apple Music if they have Discovery thing like that.
So it's not very good. I use Apple Music myself, and it's okay. It's like really similar to Spotify.
Is there any artists that you could have like on the tip of your tongue, on your mind right now, that you'd like to shout out and get people's?
I just thought of Björk. Everyone says her name Björk, but it's Björk. That's how she pronounces it. Yeah, I was just thinking about my Magic Songs playlist, and that was the first thing that came to my mind.
Okay.
And there's this group I like called Humming Urban Stereo. I don't know if they make music that much anymore, but it's like 2000s electro, K-pop kind of stuff. Really different than what I've heard out of all the Korean music I've listened to. And their album covers are really interesting too. They're different than anything I've ever seen.
Very nice. What about like artists on Instagram?
Oh, artists on Instagram. I like Katie Kimmel. She does these like ceramic pieces of dogs, like a vase with a dog face on it, and they're really, really cute. And she does like thrifted, upcycled clothes. Like, have you seen iCarly? Like, it's a pretty generational thing. Yeah, those penny tees that they have that say like roast beef or pickle sandwich or something. She kind of remakes those, but on like granny sweaters
I see.
and that kind of style. And it'll have a.
I love that like granny style. Like, it's so sick. I had a friend that was like super into that style, and she used to like do thrifting on Instagram, and it's just, if you can pull it off, like looking like a grandma, like it's so dope.
Go for it. Honestly,
it's amazing. I love it.
True.
Just like go for what you think you're styling in.
What are your words of wisdom to other artists and other individuals out there that might have come across this and are also creative? What kind of words do you have for them?
Make all the trash art that you want. Scribble and finger paint. Do do all you want and then post it and see if anybody likes it. Because it's fun.
Yes.
That's one thing. And then if you put it all together, you should put it on Behance instead of just a regular portfolio, because you can have people appreciate your art and put it in mood boards when just the regular portfolio would just sit in one spot. That's a good tip.
That's a good idea.
Because I've even gotten job offers through Behance. But it was like 3 different people asking, oh, will you work for our sports merchandising company? And I'm like, that's not what I do. This is a scam.
Yeah. Have you ever used or you said Behance? Have you ever used Dribble?
Yeah, but I think you have to pay for it to get like the top features. Okay. And I'm trying to save as much money as I can.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'll just use Behance, Instagram, and Pinterest. I use Pinterest sometimes.
Yep, gotta spread yourself like all over.
It's my secret formula.
All over everywhere.
Do you have any other questions? I think we're getting pretty close to the end here.
If you could make like one rule a law, like anything you wanted, what would it be? Like make your own law.
Okay, in elementary school, they called this the golden rule, and I would say this would apply for my answer. Treat people how you want to be treated.
Yes. I remember learning that at a young age too at church. They would tell us about the golden rule.
Yeah.
Maybe my last question. What's your philosophy on life? What do you think for you, like, if there was maybe like a phrase or like anything that kind of sums up your perspective on living in life or how you just go about things, what would you say that would be?
Like I was saying earlier, you shouldn't worry about the past because it already passed and you can't do anything about it. You shouldn't worry about the future because it hasn't happened. Totally stealing this from Midnight Gospel, but just be here now.
Yes, just be here now.
I heard that and I was like, yes, that's perfect. It's the best way to put that. So, yeah.
I was
just
watching somebody. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was watching somebody on TikTok the other day, like trying to explain like time travel, and what they're trying to say is that, well, technically we kind of already have access to time travel in the sense that, like, the only way you can look at the past is through your memories, and you're doing that when you look in the past, and when you look in the future, like, the only certain time that's always certain is the present. And like, it's kind of just an interesting
I think I saw
thought.
that video too.
Yeah, it's kind of just an interesting thought to build off what you were saying.
Have you ever watched Kyrgyzstan in a Nutshell on YouTube? I don't know if I butchered the pronunciation.
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever heard of that.
A lot of interest.
Was it called something Nutshell?
Yeah, it's like Kyrgyzstan in a Nutshell.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Something
I've never
like
seen
that.
that.
But they have a lot of interesting videos about like philosophy and time travel and stuff like that.
I have to check that.
Okay.
Because we recommended you the Midnight Gospel when you watched it, and maybe give some words on that. What did you think about the Midnight Gospel, and would you recommend it to the people watching or listening to this?
It was really interesting. It was the first like kind of graphic kind of cartoon I ever watched. So I was like, what is going on? Because like the conversation will be really deep, and like they'll be really deep, and then there's chaos going on.
Exactly.
So if you watch it a couple times. I still have to watch it again to like really get it.
I still haven't seen it all the way through.
So
It's my first viewing, so I need to do that too. And if you watch Kyrgyzstan in a Nutshell, watch The Egg first. That one's probably my favorite.
okay.
We'll send you a link to that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think we're just about done here.
Hold on. Do you live in a simulation?
I never really thought about it until this year, like 2020 kind of felt like it. Because there's so many people getting away with some of the most messed up things, and that's what doesn't feel real. Maybe it's because I'm growing up and I'm becoming more aware of like the news and stuff like that, but it's just, oh my goodness.
Life is crazy.
There's a bunch of crazies out there.
Definitely. Well, everybody, with that being said, be safe out there. The simulation is pretty wild. It's getting crazy. But always know that you're welcome here, whether you're an artist or just a passenger.
Passerby.
Yeah, whatever. You're always welcome here. And we'll see who we join next time for a conversation. It was a blast talking to you, Kimberlyn.
Yep. It was a blast talking to you too.
Very nice to meet you again.
Yes. At the end of the day, this whole thing is about art, getting other people's perspective on life, and getting to know them on a deeper level. So we're glad you shared your thoughts with us.
Yeah, thank you for being
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see this platform bloom into its full potential.
Yes,
it's going to be really great.
This is the first episode, and there's going to be many more to come. Let me make sure that I say this, because I forgot to say it. We tried to record this one time, but we won't talk about that. Make sure, if you're an artist watching this, if you want to submit and have a chance to appear on this show, make sure you go to our Instagram, read the rules, and pretty much all you have to do is take our I don't have it around me, but take our logo and
throw it up on the screen.
Yeah. Take our logo and do whatever you want with it. It doesn't even have to remain in the same outline or whatever. Like, go out of the box, get creative with it, and you'll also have a chance to win free merch. So that's kind of a cool side thing.
Such cool hats.
Thank you. So yeah, if you want to be featured on here with an Instagram page, that's the way to do it. Please, we encourage it. It makes my day when I see another post. So thank you to everyone that has submitted so far, and we hope we get some more artists on here that we have featured in the past.
And like, even if you don't get chosen for the challenge, reach out like in DMs and something. I'm sure we'd still be glad to have you.
Oh yeah,
on the podcast.
Definitely. Reach out. Feel free to DM at any time. We will get back to you. And with that being said, I think we're done here. First episode is a wrap. Thank you so much again, Kimberlyn, and we'll see everyone soon.
Thanks for watching. Brofist.